Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Excavation Point Zoo. Here we are in the next installment of my collaboration project with Mrs. T-Rex. We're about halfway through, I guess, halfway through the zoo, maybe just a little bit earlier than halfway. Today I am doing two things. You can see at the moment I'm building the dig site. So we wanted this zoo to be built around an excavation site, like a dinosaur dig site. The reason for that was because we are both looking forward to the release of Prehistoric Kingdom, which is a game similar to Planet Zoo but for dinosaurs. And given that that is only in alpha at the moment and it is closed alpha for that game, we wanted to include sort of a dinosaur theme running through this zoo. So the idea is that they have decided to make the dig site into a attraction around which they have built a zoo. So the zoo itself is obviously an attraction, and then a lot of people would come for the dig site as well, so come to sort of look at it and see it and so on. Today, after I finish building the dig site, I go in and build a Binturong House. I haven't built for those animals before, and I just really wanted to give it a go. I didn't want them to have like an open air habitat. I kind of wanted them to have like their own little house with lots of little climbing frames in there and things like that. I also put it up sort of in the corner of a bit of a hill, like the side of the hill here where the dig site is. I wanted to kind of hide it away a little bit so people felt like they were kind of up in the treetops viewing the Binturong. The Binturong itself is only about 60 to 90 centimetres long, and it weighs between 13 to 22 kilograms. So I think I end up putting in, about 4 Binturongs into the Binturong house, but that's probably not all that realistic. I think you'd probably only have maybe 2 maximum in there. I really like those little creatures though. It did say, like when I was reading about them, that they spend most of their time in the trees. So I did put quite a lot of kind of climbing frames and things in the house itself. However, I find that they still do spend a lot of time on the ground of the Binturong house. I guess that's just kind of how the mechanics of Planet Zoo work. Something else, I really like these little creatures. They're kind of like really grumpy old men, like that's what they look like to me, but they spend most of their time sleeping during the day, and they also, a lot of people have said, and you've probably heard a lot of people say, that they smell like popcorn, which I kind of think is weird, but you know, power to them. If they smell like popcorn, at least they don't smell like something terrible, I suppose. I was reading about what they eat, which is, they're classified as carnivores, but they eat pretty much anything that they fancy, but it's like mainly fruit and veg, birds, small mammals, sometimes fish. They've also been known to eat carrion, and eggs and leaves and plant shoots, things like that. Also, they have a really interesting relationship with the strangler fig. The strangler fig has like quite tough exterior seeds, and the Binturong is one of the only animals that when they digest the seeds and they actually excrete them, one of the only animals that is able to soften them enough for the strangler fig to actually germinate again. So they kind of have like a really interesting relationship with that particular plant. If I had read that fact early enough, I probably would have put some strangler figs into the Binturong house, but I didn't read it early enough. Apologies for that, guys. You can see here I'm just building the house. I'm going in with some accents of wood and so on. I build it away from the zoo itself, and then I end up putting it into the zoo afterwards. I tend to prefer to do that because it's much easier to build and easier to see when you're building buildings like this out in the open, and then you can kind of go in and sort of secret it away wherever you want afterwards, which is like kind of how I prefer to build. Like that's a bit more my building style, I suppose. I do end up like putting an interesting staff entrance into the building, and I feel like I've done a few sort of little unique things here. Like there's a couple of little peepholes through the sides of the building where people can kind of go down the side and look into those smaller windows that you can see on either side there. I also pop a feeding schedule in, and once again I do make sure that I include the disability ramps so that people that can't traverse the stairs can also come up and see the Binturong. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you are enjoying my content, please do leave a like and a comment. It really helps out with that tricky old YouTube algorithm that isn't loving my channel at the moment. So if you want to help me out, that would be something really great to do. If you're here regularly and you haven't subscribed, I would love to see you subscribe. That would be highly appreciated. If you don't want to subscribe, a like and a comment is just as good. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the real time part at the end. Hey everyone, welcome back from the speed build. I just have to be a little bit careful here because we have built quite a lot in this zoo since I built the Binturong House. In fact, I think we're about 4 or 5 episodes in since the Binturong House. Oh, hello lady. So I just sort of need to be careful not to sort of swing to the right here, and also there's something to the left as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make our way this way through the zoo. We might just speed up Tejidcam a little bit so that we can get through to where I built the Binturong House. You can see just here on the left there is still space for another animal. So there will be perhaps a habitat in here in the near future, but for now that's just left. We've got all this beautiful gardening here done by Mrs. T-Rex, and then we're coming up here towards where the Binturong House is. So you can see it's sort of up here on this little ridge, and in order to get to it you do need to go up the stairs or up the ramp. So let's just head on forwards here and we will just turn around. You can see we've popped some of the fencing into the zoo now. So this is like the border fencing or the exterior outside of the zoo. So the very sort of edge of the zoo, we've popped all that fencing in now. So here we are at the Binturong House. Okay, so I've just changed the lighting of the game just a little bit. So it was in the afternoon, now it's kind of late morning, around 11 a.m. Just wanted to be able to see the sign a bit better and like just part of sort of the pathways and so on going up to the house. So you can see I've put kind of a few trees around. I've also put this pool in here. It is lined, so it's sort of, you know, easily drains. They can clean it out. It's not too deep, so if anyone falls in, you know, they're easily rescued. I mean, normally zoos would probably have something around this as a barrier, particularly to try and keep children from falling in, but I just didn't really think it was necessary. We're just kind of doing this zoo for a bit of fun. So in you come. We've got another sausage tree here, and then one of these beautiful fever trees that I mentioned in an earlier episode. I think the Hillside habitat that I released. I didn't end up using them in that habitat, but I just really love them. I think they're just beautiful, and I wanted to incorporate them into this episode. I also have them in a couple of others, but this one kind of, it just sheds so much nice natural shade and kind of that beautiful spotted light that really, you know, Planet Zoo just has the most beautiful light. Oops, we won't go that way. I just love the lighting in this game. So what we might do is we're going to go up the ramp. So we'll head on up here. Don't mind the grass in the pathway. There we go. And we're up here in the Binturong Hilltop House. So on this side here there's a little peek through. There's also some seats here, but there is a fence down here to stop guests from kind of trying to sneak around the back of the house itself. And then you have this mesh up the front here to kind of give the house a bit of airing. Like, you don't want to have just no air getting in there at all. I've put some lights in there. They look a bit like heat lamps, but they're not really supposed to be. They're just kind of supposed to be lights to make it easier to see the Binturong both during the day and at night. If we head this way, we've got a feeding schedule on the wall, another mesh area here. You can see the Binturong just walking around in there, and then they've got all of these climbing structures here. So, and then around this side there is one more viewing area which has some seating as well. So you've got sort of some seating up here, and you can just sit and have a relax in the shade, and it's a nice quiet area up here. And then if we just pop into the Binturong House, and I can show you what's going on in here. So here's this little fellow down here. He's really, oh, and there's a few more. I really love these little creatures. They're so cute. They do climb up all the way up to the top here, and they also sleep up on the top of this platform up here. They like to sort of be on these platforms by the windows, which I think is good because that would give the guests a really nice view of them. And then the keepers obviously come through this door in the back here to feed them. I'm going to walk through here and just show you guys what's on the other side. So here you've got the keeper entrance. They've got their little board, so check me before feeding just in case they've recently been fed. And then there's just some, I guess, like some temporary shelving and some things that they might have there for like when guests come at feeding times and things, so that they can just feed them certain fruits and so on. And then you just have a wheelbarrow as well. So, and that's just right next to the guest viewing here, which is why the fence here is a little bit taller. And then if we head on down the path, I just need to be a bit careful that we don't spoil anything for you guys. Head on down here, and down this way is the keeper entrance to the Hillside habitat and the back of the restaurant here. So if we can go down without spoiling anything, I think we can, under this tree branch. And then this is back of the aardvark habitat. So there you are, guys, that's what we got done today, the Binturong House. I hope you really enjoyed watching this episode in Excavation Point Zoo. I'm certainly enjoying building in this zoo. It's really gotten me back into Planet Zoo. I'm really loving building in it, and I can't wait for you to see the rest of the series. Next episode will be dropping on Mrs. T-Rex's channel in a week's time, so make sure you jump over there and give that episode some love and subscribe to her channel if you really enjoy this type of content. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.